His surname over in Sweden was Hussein. When he came to the United Kingdom, he told everybody his name was Fayaz Khan. But on TikTok, he was known as Mada Pasa, and I was alerted last October to this man travelling through Germany, France, making his way to Calais. And I just, I looked at various clips of him. I saw him with guns. I found out a little bit more about his background, videos of him with 3 young women, all dressed in full burqas, a Kalashnikov on his face. And I just thought, I don't know, I'm not sure we want someone like this coming to our country. So I started posting. I started basically saying, this is the journey of an illegal migrant into Britain, and frankly, we don't want him. This was one of his responses.
Englishman, Nigel Farage, don't talk about me. You not know me. I come to England because I want marriage with your sister. Don't talk about me more. Delete the video. This is not good, my friend. You not know me. I gonna come to England. I gonna mother. Man, you know.
Not the sort of chap you invite round for Sunday tea, and I was alarmed by it. Well, undeterred, he made the crossing and he kept on posting on TikTok. Here he was in a dinghy crossing the channel. So today was sentencing. We learnt that he's had 17 convictions since he's been in Sweden, a variety of drugs charges, theft charges, knife crimes, threatening to stab and rape women, threatening public officials. I mean, this is a seriously bad guy. I thought the judge, Justice Stein, did her job very, very well. She effectively gave him the maximum sentence that he could have got. It could be up to 10 years for threat to kill, but that would need to be physically, pointing a gun in your face. And he got 5 years. Interestingly, he also got an 8-month sentence to be served concurrently for illegally entering the country, which made me think, should all people who come illegally go to prison for a few months? And if they did, wouldn't that stop the boats from coming? Because clearly the legislation's in place that does allow us to do this if simply we have the will. Give me your thoughts. Should all of them go to prison for a bit to stop the boats? Tweet #Farage on GB News or email farage@gbnews.com. Well, I have to tell you, after the sentence, he went absolutely berserk in the dock, and he was threatening me again, and kicking doors and screaming and shouting. But actually what he was saying was, please send me back to Afghanistan. But here's the funny thing. If that was in Germany, after he'd served his sentence, or part of it, he could be deported to Afghanistan. There are plane loads going from Berlin to Afghanistan. But in this country, we say, no, we can't send anyone there because it's not a safe country. This guy, because he's been remanded for a year already, will be out in 18 months' time, free to walk the streets of our country in 18 months' time. So there's a bit of me that says, I'm very, very pleased that I highlighted this individual. There's also another part of me that says, I'm pretty worried this guy will be out in 18 months.
Have you had a random call lately from a strange number, maybe trying to sell you something or even scam you? If so, your info could be out there. That's because of data brokers, shady companies that scrape the internet for your personal details and sell them to marketers or even scammers. These days, scammers can even use AI to mimic your friends' voices and trick you into sending money. It's not just annoying. Data brokers often target vulnerable people with high-interest loans or sketchy offers. But there is a solution. Incogni, the sponsor of this video. Incogni contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your info be deleted from their databases. And because your data can keep popping up, Incogni keeps sending removal requests to make sure it stays gone. They've just launched a new unlimited plan with custom removals. If you find your info on a weird website, just send them the link and their privacy team will work to get it taken down. Getting started is easy. Hit the link in the description, create your account and let Incogni handle the rest. It's risk-free for 30 days, and you'll get 60% off an annual plan with the code GBNews. Take back control of your data with Incogni.
I'm joined by Sir Ronald Jawardner and Joe Phillips, regulars here. Ronald, it's fascinating. I mean, look, 5 years for threat to kill was right. I think she got that absolutely right. But 8 months in prison for illegally entering Britain, so much more we could do.
Yeah, it shows it can be done, can't it?
But, yeah.
And, you know, yes, there's much said about the judiciary, an independent judiciary and so on. I think this was right, and this is a brilliant expose of where things have been going wrong by default. So I think we do need to look at this more closely, but also we've got to be careful about the signal it sends. We equally don't want people rocking up knowing they can get into the UK. Yes, they might have to serve a few months in prison, but then we simply can't get rid of them. So we've got to be careful about that. But fundamentally, it's a deterrent.
But I mean, the difference between arriving in Dover, being processed in Manston,
put in a hotel
or a house, and thinking I might be detained for 8 months, would be a very big disincentive.
So it's certainly better, isn't it? It's iteratively better. I just want to be careful around this, that we don't create another industry for the lawyers to say, OK, right, now they're in prison, but you can't get rid of them.
Well, hang on, we can't get rid of them anyway.
Well, quite right now, but this is why I do favour the offshore processing like Australia did, like this country was going to do. That's the real deterrent. But this is perhaps a halfway house for now. It's under existing legislation, so no change required.
I mean, as I said, Joe, you know, part of me was pleased today, part of me was pretty horrified today. And I thought, well, if I hadn't posted about this guy, he would be walking the streets freely in our country.
Well, and who knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because I remember...
Or how many others there are like this.
When you showed the clip last year, whenever it was. No, it's absolutely chilling. And I think, you know, it serves as a horrible reminder, very personal to you. But we are 4 years on from David Amos's murder. And David's daughter, along with Joe Cox's widower, Brendan, have reminded people of the risk to people in public life, elected politicians. Sir Ed Davey, there's a court case going on at the moment about somebody who's been making a nuisance of themselves.
A stalking case, basically.
Yes, and, you know, it's a horrible thing. And I know, you know, you choose to go into politics. You did, Ronald did. But people need to realise how horrible and how frightening this sort of thing is. And I think, you know, this bloke came from Sweden. Why can't he go back to Sweden?
Well, this is interesting, because Sweden rejected his asylum claim.
But he's been convicted in Sweden.
He's been convicted in Sweden. There are open charges still in Sweden around child pornography. But his asylum claim was rejected, and the Swedes don't want him back. But he wants to go back. He was screaming in the court, send me back to Afghanistan. Well, and isn't that at the end of the sentence what we ought to do?
But actually, not even at the end of the sentence. If you're found guilty of something as serious as this...
Could go now.
You should go now, because actually, although, and I completely get what Ronald's saying about, you know, you can't process everybody, apart from anything else, we haven't got space in the prisons. And there is, while there is no legal route for some genuine asylum seekers, you can't assume everybody is illegal.
But Joe, if we detain people in army camps, RAF camps, if they knew that on coming to Britain they would be detained for several months, fewer would come.
If you process them quickly. And that's part of the problem. I mean, if you process them quickly, you can say, no, you're illegal. Right, you either go or you go into prison.
If you process them quickly, and 15 to 20% of them are Afghans, and the current policy is you can't deport them to Afghanistan, you're no further forward.
But you can't just lock people up. We haven't got room in the prisons.
But
well,
it's just
I think former military camps would do the job.
Well, it's just bonkers, though, that some people are claiming asylum, but then going on holiday to Afghanistan, and yet the courts deem it not to be a safe country. It's just totally irrational.
And by the way, he has now lodged an asylum claim.
Right, there we are.
So when he comes out in 18 months, unless we've got the courage to deport him to Afghanistan, because the Swedes won't have him, then he's going to be free to walk the streets.
Yeah. And yet he was calling to be deported right now to the country that he says is not safe.
It's a total nonsense.
Well, the judge did a job, and I think she did a job very, very well. But as I say, I'm going to come back to this point. You know, 8 months, and actually in most countries in the world, if you break into a country illegally, you are put in prison. It's what normal countries do. And Joe, she's given him this sentence. We could get tougher, couldn't we?
It's the first time I've heard of anybody being sentenced
Same here.
for this. The first time ever. And you, Ronald, have you heard it?
Yeah, first time, exactly. And, you know... If
And this, by the way, is a High Court judge.
Yeah.
I mean, Justice Stein was no mug. She knew exactly what she was doing
this is a
within
Crown
the law.
Court, isn't it? So it doesn't have to go right the way up.
No.
And actually, on that level, it could be done at Magistrates' Court.
Well, and, you know...
Yes.
So that level of sentencing.
And fundamentally, if the Home Secretary wants to portray herself as tough on borders, as the Labour Party wants to right now, then they could direct.
Yeah.
They could direct that this is the way that they want to deal with it. So
Well,
ball in their court.
Yeah.
We're a couple of boats short of 37,000 crossing the Channel, and that'll be a record up on last year. There's no sign of this stopping, is there? No sign at all.
Sadly, right now, no. And we've got to have more deterrence, you know. So whether it's using this law and putting people in prison for coming here illegally, and illegally is the word, that is a criminal act, or whether it's an offshore processing scheme, which I've long advocated for, something must be done. It can be done. This shows it can be done.
Yeah.
And it's now, you know, ball in Labour's court to get on and do the job.
And yet the Liberal Democrats and Labour are saying, well, when we were EU members, we had a return scheme. But under the return scheme, we took more than we sent.
Yes, but we didn't use the return scheme as well as we could have done.
No.
Joe, it didn't work.
It did not work.
The other thing that we did have, which we don't have now since Brexit, is access to the fingerprint data thing, which would show people who were criminals.
Hang on a sec. Interpol's been around since 19...
No, it's not Interpol.
No, hang on. Interpol's been around since 1923. And that's how police forces used to cooperate.
Yeah.
So why couldn't we do that?
Well, I'm sure we do on certain cases, but there was a database of fingerprints of convicted criminals.
Well,
it would immediately say, OK, if you want to put people who've entered here illegally, you start with those people who are convicted criminals.
But what... OK, well, Madapasa, as he calls himself, is a convicted criminal.
Absolutely, yeah.
But we can't send him back to Sweden because they won't have him.
No.
So what do we do?
Well,
I mean, even if we know they're criminals, if they come from Eritrea or most of these countries...
And he's going to be there for 5 years or 18 months or
18
whatever
months from now.
In a prison that, you know, is being paid for by us.
No, listen, Joe,
there needs to be-
I'm with you. I'd send him to Afghanistan tomorrow.
I mean, I think, you know, if you do that... Sorry, Ronald.
Well, I was just going to say, so Europol is what you're referring to, Joe. And
It's not, it's called Eurodac or something.
Eurodac is the... Europol's the organisation.
Yeah.
Eurodac is the database.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is we've cooperated with countries, we've extradited with other countries without the European Union.
Well, exactly. And also with Europol, if they wanted us to participate, and it serves both sides to participate in sharing details on criminals, they could have done it. They chose not to. And, you know, your point remains valid, Nigel, that even if we knew who the criminals were, France, Sweden, they're playing, you know, this hardball game, not taking anyone back.
I have to say, it's been a funny old day. I was right to point out what a bad guy he was. I've got mixed feelings about the whole thing this evening. Now, a Home Office spokesman said, "We welcome this sentence. Threatening violence against anyone, particularly an elected member of Parliament, is never acceptable. We thank the police and all those involved in bringing justice in this case. When foreign nationals commit serious crimes in our country, we will always do everything in our power to deport them." Yeah, really. OK, thank you very much indeed, Home Office.